So, Matt, how many projects have we done together this year? Three?
3 or 4, yeah.
3 or 4. So here's what I want to know. One of the things that we always get asked by our clients is, how do we, I don't want to use the word future-proof because there is no such thing as future-proof, but oftentimes when clients say that, they mean flexibility, right? And what we're doing in the corporate world with studios like this, everything's so small, everything's so compact. It's all about, like, for us, flexibility, meaning things that move, things that track, being able to reconfigure a space. And I imagine that kind of drives you guys nuts, right? From a lighting perspective. So talk to me about flexibility, and it could be just in general, or it could be maybe specifically with this studio. Like, what are some of the things that kind of go into what you guys do for planning?
So, of course, the goal is always to provide a completely turnkey and flexible studio for the end user, for the client. Most of the time, we know that the folks we're handing the keys over to are not necessarily lighting folks, and they don't want to have to get on a ladder, refocus lights, and deal with things on a day-to-day. So we're always trying to anticipate the use of the studio. And we always start with the renderings that are being provided and then lean into our own experience of what might shift from what's being proposed, but also what is going to be added once we get on site, once we get into blocking, but even once we leave. We're always trying to anticipate the things that the client doesn't even know they need yet.
Yeah.
So creating a base of light for areas like in here, we broke everything up into 4 corners essentially, and each corner has a base. And within that base, you can do a lot. And as long as you're not looking for really granular control over skin tones or individual positions, you can get away with the bulk of what you're going to do in a shoot with area light. And then from there, it's about creating the tools within each section to be able to create that more granular control.
Yep.
Right? So nailing down as many concrete talent positions as we can. If you look on the floor here, there's a ton of spike marks, right?
Yeah, everywhere.
And for the most part, each one of those areas has at least 1 key light and 1 backlight. And then from there, like those are your go-tos, right? So any day someone can come in, they can go to the lighting console and they can turn on, position 1, 2, 3, and 4 in this area. But then from there, you want to give them, what we call floater lights or specials, that they don't necessarily have to get on a ladder and move cables, but they can just pan over and light things that are just for the day without having to completely rework the system.
One of the things that I really appreciate about your process is planning for flexibility, but so at the end of the job, right, everybody wants to know, so, okay, how do we work it? Right? Like, what do we do? Like, how does the touch screen that you've developed for us specifically work? And, can you talk a little bit about how you end up, training and, introducing clients to the system that you guys put together, and how you guide them through the flexibility that you've built into the studios with the lighting?
Fortunately, the lighting control technology has evolved a lot in recent years, and it's become much more intuitive. Even to drill down, if you're sitting in front of a physical console with all the knobs and buttons and all of that, things are more intuitive for novice users. But our goal, again, in creating a easy turnkey system is to allow non-lighting people to be able to do it on a day-to-day.
Which is totally what's happening like in the corporate world, right?
Absolutely. Absolutely. 9 times out of 10, we're going into a studio that has, no lighting people or, someone who has some knowledge of lighting, but is also doing video and sound and moving the furniture around, and they don't want to spend their entire morning just setting up lighting. So we go in, we build a graphic interface that's completely customized to this project, to the individual studio, and all that exists on a touch screen. So they literally just look at the picture and say, okay, we're shooting in this corner, and you push the button and it sort of zooms in to a more detailed view of that corner where you see all of the options for positions, and then it's just touch the positions you want to use, and we give them really easy ability to control levels up and down for skin tones if that's applicable.
So you and I have both worked in broadcast news. How does, and maybe there isn't a difference, but how does what we're doing here and corporate studios that, again, small, I mean, this is what, maybe like a 30 by 30, maybe 900 square feet versus, I don't know, a 1,200, 2,500 square foot news studio. How does your approach change or not from, corporate video production versus, news?
Well, I think a lot of it translates directly. The fundamentals are all still the same. Like the angles that you're lighting people here versus lighting people at an anchor desk are ultimately the same.
Same with scenic too, right?
Sure, right. The main difference that I've seen in the corporate world is giving them the ability to shift from, more flat, evenly balanced light all the way across the face, which is what you would see in a news studio, someone sitting at an anchor desk. But maybe sometimes you want to have a dramatic interview where the upstage side falls off or is blue. So again, giving them the tools to have that kind of flexibility and setting it up through the user interface that those adjustments are very simple.
Yep. Like I find even with the scenic, in terms of like how things move and track, I find that our kind of corporate clients, what I call like more non-traditional broadcast or video, the clients tend to be a little bit more open to walking them through what the studio does, right? Mm-hmm. And showing them how things work. Because to your point, like some studios, some corporate studios, they may not even have a like full-time manager or producer, and everything comes in third party. So it makes it even more of a challenge when you've got, and more crucial in that training period, to make sure that anybody and everybody who is part of the studio have a good sense of how to use it, right?
Absolutely. I'll say I've definitely witnessed, in more of the corporate studios than the news studios, there is always an eagerness to learn.
Yeah,
the studio folks really want to be involved, and they want to know what you're doing so that they know how to take it and run with it when you're gone.
I mean, that's good. I mean, the broadcast clients I love too, but the staff tend to be much more knowledgeable and, seasoned, as opposed to, sometimes they're on the corporate side, you still have those seasoned people, but you have less of them, right? And you've got more people that are part of the mix that may not even have a video or broadcast background at all, right? Cool. Well, I appreciate the impromptu sit down. Yeah. Anything else that we should know about your creative genius in the studio here?
I don't know.
Well, look, I'm looking forward to doing more work with you guys, and the corporate video production spaces are something that, for me, even in the past 12 months, 18 months, have really exploded. And I think that there's a need for individuals like yourself and us to be like as much educators than as we are, professionals. I mean, we're all clearly passionate about what we do and great at what we do, but I really feel like, which is one of the reasons why I'm doing this crazy podcast stuff and video, is to try to like put enough out there that clients aren't not afraid, but clients aren't hesitant to bring on a full team or a partner to do the work. So I appreciate it.
No, thank you very much.